Welcome to Your Unapologetic Life, the podcast. I'm your host, Morgan Barkis, women's empowerment coach, speaker, and author. And this show is for the woman who's done crying herself to sleep. You're picking yourself up after the breakup or the divorce, and you're ready to figure out what this next chapter is going to look like. Not the one someone else wants for you, the one that's fully yours. Each episode is here to remind you you're not too late, you're not too much, and you're not alone. This is your comeback era, and I've got you. The most powerful woman is not the woman who has the relationship. It's the woman who knows she doesn't need one. The woman who says, I would love to have a partner, and I am whole without one. I am talking to the single woman who will never settle again. Not because she is bitter, not because she is scared, because she finally knows exactly who she is and what she wants. The reason this episode came to be is because I had the honor of being invited to a birthday party. It was an intimate affair. I was surrounded by 6 fierce, powerful, driven women. And I thought, these women make me feel excited, inspired by what I do in my coaching. That this woman who is 40 plus and is really a boss in her life. She has raised kids. She has a career. She has her own household. She is living her best life. She's got good girlfriends. She's not opposed to dating. She would love to find a partner. And she knows what she wants. She is no longer settling for anything less than someone who can meet her where she is at. That is the group of women I was with last night. So let's talk about what this episode is not. This episode is not about men or their shortcomings. We're not here to be like, can you believe? No, this isn't about men. There are a lot of wonderful men in the world. And when a woman is healed and she is taking care of herself and living her best life, she attracts a man who is a match. So this isn't about bashing men in any way, shape, or form. I'm not complaining about all the good ones are gone. I hear that sometimes. Well, to me, that gives us hope that there are good ones out there. This is, like I said, really about shifting what's happening inside the woman, and that it isn't about the man. It's about the woman who is choosing the man, attracting the man. And again, in my coaching, this is what I help women step into, this version of themselves who no longer entertains anyone that isn't a match, that isn't aligned with what she wants in this life and how she sees love and relationships and happiness. Shall we get artistic? Let's paint the picture. Let's paint the picture of the life that the woman who never settles again is living. She is fulfilled in every area of her life. She feels proud of who she is becoming. She isn't auditioning for love anymore. That hit me. She is not auditioning for love anymore. A woman who never settles doesn't settle with herself either. She takes care of herself, and she takes care of the different areas of her life, whether it's career, finances, health and fitness, family, her friend circle. And she's not performing anymore. She is being herself, all of herself, authentically. The other part of the picture is she requires reciprocity as a baseline, not an upgrade. So I think a lot of times, I know it was true for me, I settled because, well, crazy chemistry and good looks and funny And all of that was true. And I felt love. And yet there wasn't the level of reciprocity that I was looking for. And so I settled. And now I realize no, no, the baseline is the reciprocity. It's not because I got lucky and I met somebody that's, being reciprocal in terms of love and matching me in effort and thoughtfulness and candidness and transparency and loyalty. No, no, that's the baseline. And when I was sitting with these women, it was a really cool. I've talked about this before. I really like the woman who wrote The Art of Gathering. And she talks about, yes, have social events, have a cocktail party, have a dinner party, get people together, and also have a purpose so that that purpose isn't focused on the entire time, but you bring everyone together for something. And the woman whose birthday it was brilliant with this. And I don't even know if she knew she was doing it. We're laughing, we're joking, we're having fun. And at one point, she pulled us all in to this tight space energetically. And she said, what I would love each of you to do is share how you met me, when we met, and, share that story. And then also, as I'm coming into my fifth decade on this planet, words of encouragement, words of wisdom that you want to share with me. And I thought, this is so cool. And it was so fun to hear the different stories of when these women had come into each other's lives. And now I get to be a part of this circle of women who are all connected by this one person. And when it was my turn, I shared about meeting this woman. And then also for her, what my words of encouragement were, I said, I've known you the shortest amount of time in terms of, all these wonderful friends that you have in your life. And in that short time, I have seen you transform. You were in a relationship when I met you that wasn't fulfilling. It was someone who was looking to get things from you, take things from you, rather than match you and add value to your life. And now you're so focused on creating a home that's yours and changing your career so that it feels good for you. And now you're making more money and you enjoy your coworkers and your career more, and you're planning the travel and you're getting the girlfriends together. And I said, what I'm loving for you is that you are no longer looking for someone to fill the holes that you felt in your life or in yourself. Now you're looking for a partner who can see happiness or some sort of lifestyle and go, yeah, I'm in alignment with that. I want that too. And then both of you aren't looking at each other to fill needs or those holes, if you will. It's two people who are whole on their own, looking out, taking each other's hand and walking forward next to each other. And I first heard that metaphor. Oh, I can't remember his name now. He and his wife are very committed to each other. They have kind of a social media presence, and they have for at least a decade now. And Preston Stiles, that's his name. And I remember him being interviewed about love and happiness and marriage and relationships. And he that's where that metaphor came, and it hit me. I love a metaphor. It hit me because I used to be that girl. I used to hope that I was going to meet a man who would make me happy. I was not happy on my own. I was on my own a lot. Like physically, I was alone a lot. And I am a confident woman. I'll eat out alone, I'll travel alone. I am courageous in that way, and I can move and just assume that I'll meet people and find my grocery store and my gym. So I've moved a lot. I think my mom counted 12 times from the time I moved away from home, which was 23 years old till 45. Now I've moved 12 different times, bunch of different states. I have no problem packing up and moving to a brand new place and starting over because I trust that I'll meet people and kind of build a community around me and figure out my community and how I fit in into the new community. And in terms of love, in terms of relationships, yikes. I always felt this grasping, I guess, and this like watching it from far away and not feeling like it was possible for me. And I was looking for the wrong things. It was like, well, maybe, to financially be nice to share a life with someone because then it's not such a burden on me. I mean, I always have to pay for everything on my own. It gets exhausting, as single women can identify with. And things are getting more and more expensive. So it's even more of a burden when you're handling everything on your own all the time. And if you get in a pickle, it's on you, so it was that. And then also happiness. I didn't feel truly happy. And so I was looking for someone else to be in my life, and it would add humor and delight and fun and activities and maybe a social group. And so I had to learn after many years and really reflecting on my singleness and going, I am out here dating, I'm meeting people organically, and I'm sure, let's hang out, let's spend some time, let's get to know each other. And it wasn't until I figured out what made me happy and felt really solid in my life, and I was no longer a slice of Swiss cheese with a bunch of holes in it that I was looking for someone else to patch up. That I didn't my picker was different, if you will. I believe that like attracts like, so the person, the people that I was attracting into my life switched. I was really happy to see that shift in my friend, and I wanted to tell her that, and so I shared that with her when we went around the room and talked about, um, words of encouragement or advice. Common theme with the women I was hanging out with last night was giver. All these women were generous and kind and thoughtful and, dare I say, people pleasers. And they even admitted, some of them, yes, I am like a recovering people pleaser. I was always so worried about making sure everyone else was taken care of and comfortable and what they needed. And she said, I would meet, like one of the gals said, I would meet someone, and if he had a food allergy, I was online googling recipes to make sure that I could feed him without killing him. Or if he was pre-diabetic, I was looking for sugar-free recipes and alternatives. And no, like that she which is it's not that you wouldn't do that if you were partnered up with someone, and it's your not your job to take care of that person. Like if you're meeting someone who is you're grown and you have your stuff together and you know how to take care of yourself because you've been doing it all these years, and you meet someone who's also the same, and then you come together and take care of each other rather than only one person. I guess that's my point. Only the one partner doing all the caretaking. And so talking about this shift from identifying as an overgiver to someone who is a chooser, choosing how you want your life to look and what kind of partner you want in your life. And this transformation, and the women I was with, they were working through this transformation where she used to settle for potential, or she used to try to earn love. She used to think her needs were too much. I've definitely been called too much or too emotional. And the shift becomes, I am the prize. If someone is not aligned with me, no hard feelings. It is not a match. And I've talked about this before. I used to take it very personal, like, what's wrong with me? Should I have said this or done that? Or why doesn't, no, it's not a match. Like someone that's not aligned, it's not a match, and it's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. And this inner work is what we do when you're working with me, when I'm your coach, your mentor, we're doing that inner work of rebuilding this identity of the woman who knows she brings the whole meal to the table. She's got all the courses. And the match for her is the man who loves every bite. You can take that literally if you'd like to. Anyway, all right. So again, I am telling you, this birthday party, I went to bed way past my bedtime, which is hard for me. And I woke up this morning, my brain was fuzzy and staying up late, just drinking a little too much alcohol and feeling the after effects, this buzz from these fierce women. That was the word that kept popping into my head. I thought these women are so fierce. And there was a point, because again, I'm brand new to all of them except the one gal that invited me to the party. I am brand new to all these women except for the woman who invited me. And there was a point where I said, I have a question for everyone. I would love to hear when you felt confident, when you knew you were a prize, and in that moment or that situation, because all of you, I look around this room and I'm hearing about your lives and you've raised your kids and you have your careers and you run in your household and you're traveling and you have this inspiring presence. And my guess is it wasn't always like that. Like a lot of women, there's a shift. And so it was really interesting hearing each woman's story around when she came into her confidence and still working on it when it comes to love. We got to talking about a lot of things when it comes to dating and sex and when is it to, speak up for your desire and what you need and not only servicing the other person and or performing and it was so interesting that we are always a work in progress. I get it. Me too. Work in progress. Journal every day, facilitating conversations like this with these women. Even though we were at a party, there was a point where I was asking these questions and I was leaning forward and the one gal joked, she goes, but because I live nearby. So she said, do you have a couch upstairs? Because we might have to do some therapy. So it was funny because that connection with these women and getting them to open up like that and realize that yes, even though they are fierce and powerful and confident and sexy and the boss of their life, there are still areas where they're doing the inner work. There's still some healing to be done. And the nice thing is they're at a point where they're just about there. Like I talk about how my coaching is not for the woman who's still crying herself to sleep. Been there, got a therapist for that, did a ton of journaling, walking, and listening to the audiobook Love Life by Matthew Hussey. So there's kind of that like crisis mode where you're just surviving to the point where you're ready to thrive and you dusted yourself off, you brushed yourself off, you're standing in the bathroom mirror and you're in the Wonder Woman pose going, okie doke, now what? Like, I need to get it back together. And yes, I want to start dating again. What is that going to look like? Who am I in this? That I am the person who's going to attract my partner. Let me work on me and get myself right so I attract a man who is healed. So again, I really truly believe that like attracts like. That was my big aha moment as I was healing and realizing I will never settle again. It wasn't that he was a bad man, it wasn't a good match. We were not aligned. And so I needed to heal myself and realize that if like attracts like, I need to work on me because a healed woman attracts a healed man. If I'm living my best life the way I want to live it, I will attract someone who's in alignment with that and looks at my lifestyle and says, yeah, I want that too. The women I was sitting with, they weren't afraid of being alone. They were afraid of being pulled off the path again. And so they were very particular about continuing to focus on themselves, live their best lives, so that if and when someone came into their life, they could be clear on if this person was a match or not. Talking to these women made me think about my coaching and how I help women identify, how I help women stabilize that identity so that when they are dating, they don't get knocked off center again. They're not going to settle for anything less than exactly the right match. Girl, you are not here to shrink for love. You are not here to mother a grown man. You are not here to settle for almost. You are building a life so full and so delicious, delightful, that the only man who gets to sit next to you is the one who can match the energy you've created, because you are the single woman who will never settle again. Thanks for listening to Your Unapologetic Life. If this podcast felt like a truth bomb, share it with another woman you love. Make sure you're following the show, and please rate and review. It really helps. Want weekly motivation in your inbox? Tap the link in the show notes to join my email list and instantly unlock your post-breakup pump-up video. And if you're thinking, I want Morgan to be my coach, click the discovery call link in the show notes, and let's talk about how perfect my coaching program could be for you right now.